Heroes, villains, a tale as old as time, and the never-ending battle to protect truth and justice from those who thrive on chaos and bloodshed. Come with us as we peel back the mask on your beloved Crusaders of Light and dive deep into the dark and twisted abyss of your most feared and hated harbingers of doom. Follow your host, Power Maximus, and everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage, as they take a trip down the rabbit hole that is everything super. So, are you a hero or a villain? Either way, find that super suit and suit up for the Super Breakdown.
What is up? What is up? We are back with another amazing episode. I'm Power Maximus. I'm here with everyone's favorite demigod, Darth Triage. And we're here with one of our local Star Wars experts himself, Darth Legacy. What is up, y'all? What is up, y'all? Oh, and if y'all don't know, this is the Super Breakdown podcast, by the way. If y'all don't know. If you don't know, now you know. Now, today we got a fun episode. We're going to be going over as much as we possibly can within our 2-hour time frame of the Mandalore. Now, I'm not just talking about Din Djarin, Mandalorian. We're definitely going to dive into that. We're definitely going to have a full deep segment of breaking down the Mandalorian as well as the Book of Boba Fett. But to start it all off, next week we have some fun things happening within the Star Wars universe. Next week is the premiere of The Acolyte on Disney Plus. I'm definitely interested in checking this out, especially like for a long time. All I've known of Star Wars is just what they showed in the movies, and then once they dropped. Well, first off, after the failure that was those unspoken after the most recent failure on the big screen, once they started dropping the shows and stuff, I started getting interested in, all right, well, what are some of the things that they're not telling us that goes on in the Star Wars universe? I'm tired of seeing them go forward. Let's take a look back. And for the past 2 months, I've been honored by Darth Triage for him lending me his the Darth Bane series. What is it? Path of Destruction, Rule of Two, and Destiny of Evil. Is there another book after this, or is this the third one?
It's just the third.
Just three. All right. Well, it's really been giving me like such an insight to like how much lore that LucasArts and Lucasfilms and Disney are not showing us. There's a whole like 37,000 years before episode 1 of lore that they haven't been telling us. So I've been taking a look back at a lot of the old lore, and man, it is better than anything that they have put on this motherfucking screen yet. And so with the Acolyte, I'm excited because it takes place 100 years before episode 1. And I'm currently about less than 1,000 years away from episode 1. while reading book 3 of the Darth Bane series, Destiny of Evil. I'm about less than 1,000 years away from that. So I would love to see like what happens 100, like so close, 100 years, before before episode 1. So what are you guys interested to see happen in the Acolyte? Let's go with you, Triage. Let's go first.
So one of the things that we've seen is them just scratch the surface of the stuff that's truly being done with the Force. I mean, we get it to see, I get that some things don't transfer well from literature to screen, so that's the reason why some things just don't get done. But I would like to see them expand more on the more mystical side of the Force with like such things like Sith sorcery, which Bane stated was the purest form of the dark side. Like
Mm.
you've got people who can create damn near like almost it was like translucent constructs or induce and whole images or nightmares into someone's mind.
Yep.
And it's like we're not seeing that level of power. We get that people have that potential, but it's like we're not seeing it. So it's like if we get to see people actually use the Force to like some more the more rare extremes, if anything, that'll give us more of an appreciation for it. So like we always get talked about how Star Killer is so ridiculously overpowered. I'm not sure if he's quote unquote overpowered or if he just uses the Force for reckless abandonment.
I very much so agree. We only get a taste of Sith sorcery in Ahsoka, when it comes to Morgan and then the wishes of Dathomir. But I agree. I definitely want to see some more rare forms of, how they use the Force. And honestly, reading what I've read, the way the Jedi use the Force ain't shit.
Right?
Like, they're supposed to be so powerful and like so revered, yet their ability in the Force is so limited to the basics: Force push, Force pull, levitate, the ability to enhance their body, and that's it. That's all I've seen a Jedi do. Now with Sith, you have the basics: pull, push, levitate, enhance your body, Force lightning. But and what I'm learning, there's levels to this shit. Of
Yeah.
Force lightning, there's levels to Force lightning. You got the blue lightning, and you got red, and you got purple lightning, and that all is based on how strong the user is in the Force. And then Xana using Sith sorcery, like you said, to create whole nightmares. Day wake nightmares to the point she can push these nightmares to the point where she can leave the people that she uses it on, her victims, in a vegetative state.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Jedi ain't shit. What about the Jedi ain't shit compared to this? Well, first off, the Jedi ain't shit in general. Honestly, from what I'm seeing, just a lot of the shit that they've done in the in their crusade for peace, it's kind of iffy to me. But now Legacy. What would you like to see come out of the Acolyte?
Well, I kind of liked the trailer. It was a nice teaser. But like we've said before, there are a lot of ways to manipulate the Force that we don't see in the movies, mainly in the movies. But thanks to all these awesome shows coming out recently and newly, we're starting to see that. Different species can manipulate, in the Star Wars world, different species manipulate the Force in different ways. But like Sith sorcery is like a whole new way to use the Force that we haven't seen, except in Ashoka, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also other abilities that we've never seen on the screen. But like force screams or
yeah,
or different powers, and such as that. But influencing the mind of others is also a giant like part of using the force. That's like major part. Being able to project images into others' minds or whole complete scenarios, just like you said. Which we haven't really seen too much. Actually, I can recall one instance, which is a good example. In Jedi Survivor, game came out about a year ago, a very good game. But in that game, you fight a Jedi that was part of the Old Order. And as you're fighting him, he basically manipulates what you see. And all of a sudden, you're walking on the ceiling. And it throws you off. But stuff
is
like
this one
that.
of the 3 battles with Garen or Gareth, whatever his name was?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Doggin.
I've only fought Doggin. Yes, I'm to the point where I only fought him the first time. I heard he gets harder each time, and he was already pretty fucking difficult to fight the first time.
Correct.
Oh shit, this is gonna be rough.
But
So go ahead.
but that character right there, like he was so powerful in the Force, he had a limb removed and used the Force to construct a translucent limb to replace it. Like he literally used the Force to create a new arm.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no one's elaborated on that type of fuckery. Nobody. Or here's another thing. Like Legacy mentioned the Force screen. Palpatine used the Force screen right before he fought Mace Windu. That's how he killed those other 3 Jedi so easily. And then the other thing he used in tandem with that was Force speed. They said that Luke Skywalker could move so fast in Legends, he's perceived the world as if it was moving in slow motion.
Wait a minute. Oh, so that's what that fucking noise was when Palpatine jumps up?
Yeah. He used the Force.
That shit. Oh,
Yeah, he used the
okay. I
Force
thought that was his
screen.
battle cry.
Yeah, he used the Force screen to disorient them, to basically completely overwhelm their senses. Then he used super speed to move so fast they couldn't stop him.
Yes. That explains that iconic scream he has that he does while he spins through the air. You
Yes.
also see that in Battlefront.
I literally thought that was his battle cry. I literally thought that was him just jumping into the fight. Oh shit! Wow. Now here's another thing. Speaking about like force abilities that we won't get to see, battle meditation. Now I was just thinking, so in that iconic Duel of Fate scene between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul, every time those barriers were closed and one of them would be stuck in their fighting, the other one knelt down and started meditating. I'm just realizing, were they using battle meditation to enhance each other's strength within the battle?
Well, Qui-Gon
That is
probably.
an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm.
Qui-Gon probably would have been. Darth Maul definitely wouldn't have, because the Sith wouldn't get taught to meditate.
No. I meant no. Actually, from in the book, there's not Khan.
During the
Yeah,
Great
Khan
Wars,
in the book. Khan. Khan used battle meditation a lot.
During the Great Wars, generals like Jedi generals or Sith generals would do battle meditation to enhance the morale
of their team. Yeah. So
correct.
Now that would be interesting if now Obi-Wan probably wouldn't be nearly as strong as Qui-Gon would be within it. Him still being a Padawan, but I'm pretty sure, Qui-Gon being, what I know of Qui-Gon, he definitely would have been one of the first things he kind of taught his Padawan is battle meditation, because in order to truly have a foothold on battle meditation, it requires a large amount of concentration and a large amount of peace and tranquility, and your use of the force.
Yeah, well,
So
during the moments when, like, if they were in a war fighting, and a superior, like a general, was doing battle meditation to enhance the morale of his troops, he was vulnerable during that time as he was meditating.
yeah,
So he was guarded
yeah.
because he was
So that
open
was
to attack.
Yep. And so that would be a perfect moment for one of them to go into battle meditation, because of the barriers. They're protected. So, and their Maul isn't going to be able to get at whoever the one battle who's doing the battle meditation. He has to sit there and fight the one who he's fighting. So and that would make so much more sense of why Obi-Wan was able to hold his own against Darth Maul, at least to that level.
It's an
Because
interesting
him still
concept.
being there's no way that a Padawan on his own ability in the Force is going to be able to stand up against a Sith like Darth Maul.
Well, Darth Maul, during that time, he was not a full Sith, remember? Everyone thought he was.
Yes, yes.
But that was the thing. Qui-Gon saw him and thought he was a Sith. And a Sith has not been seen for, thousands of years. But he was... Sidious specifically trained him to be a killer, like a trained assassin. And
Yeah. Even on that level, a Padawan, I personally don't think a Jedi Padawan would be able to take on a trained Sith killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just
That
interesting.
it's just hard for me to believe.
Well, in my opinion, there's two main factors we got to take into stride with this. One, you got to remember a lot of the lore about Maul was public knowledge after the fact.
Yeah.
So it's like Maul was supposed to be a one-off. They didn't expect his character to become as popular as he did. Hence the reason why they brought him back. He survived being cut in half, and it's like everything that they did and canonized in the Clone Wars, and then him being Rebels. That was all them broadening his character because of the love his character had, so his character endured because of it. That's one. Second off, is that we knew that Obi-Wan Kenobi was phenomenally different in his youth than he was in his older age. Like it's actually stated.
That's true.
It's actually stated that he had a lot of anger issues, and his temperament was actually a little volatile when he was younger. And Qui-Gon had to try to remind him on occasion, like, "Yo, that's the wrong thing. You got to control yourself." So, like, the second he saw him get injured, it was go time. Like, he might have let his rage get channeled through his saber combat, because that's how Anakin defeated Dooku.
You're right. Oh shit.
And then
You're very right.
And then the second he matched him, blow for blow with power, he winds up force pushing him down the tunnel. He kicks his lightsaber in, like, oh, now he's disarmed. It's over. Once again, Maul being Maul thought he had the upper hand. Next thing you know, take that.
You're right. In the end, I can definitely see it being a bit of ooh. that would be very nice for them to expand upon. And again, that also goes back and brings validation to what I'm saying about Qui-Gon teaching him battle meditation, to try to teach him to try to check that anger and that temperament.
It's interesting because
Damn.
he becomes a general later on.
Right?
So you would think a Jedi in the Jedi Temple who knows he has to become a general or asks to become a general isn't taught battle meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
No,
if you're
absolutely.
yeah,
But this is also the thing too, and you got to remember, they are from a very unconventional line of Sith. Dooku's whole thing was dueling. He used a form of lightsaber combat that wasn't even used anymore.
that's very true.
So it's like, if anything, that would have been something that he'd have taught Qui-Gon.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually said that, like, that whole scene with the barriers being put up, that's reminiscent to I can't remember what the movie was with Bruce Lee, where he was running through like these catacombs and like he got stuck between these two walls. So instead of him freaking out or kicking the wall or kicking the door or yelling in rage, like he sits down and folds his arms and waits for the door to open back up.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yes.
So they're like their whole point was him conserving his energy for whenever the fight inevitably resumed. Like, if you look at the three of them, Obi-Wan, he's waiting patiently to the best he can to get to his master. Qui-Gon sits down and meditates. Maul's pacing like a tiger waiting for his meal.
He really was. He was just walking back and forth. Like, come on. He even tapped the barrier with his lightsaber a few times. Like, come on, I'm hungry.
You gotta remember,
Let's go.
You gotta remember how much Maul hates Jedi, and this was his first chance to kill one.
Yeah. So he was hungry. That man was hungry, and I think that also fuels a lot of his character, going forward as well. Maul, you can see he has that hunger and he has that survival instinct that I'm going to live and I'm going to survive for as long as I possibly can, and I'm going to take out anyone in my way. And that's why I really fucks with Maul's character a lot. But no, for the Acolyte, I would definitely be interested to see a lot more of these force abilities to be used, because this force pull shit, force lightning, no. I just got done reading Rule of Two, where they talk about a Sith Lord who she was so in depth in Sith alchemy that she was able to turn organic beings into biomechanic beings. There's a whole scene where when Bane opens up the main chamber to retrieve her holocron, what's her name? Belia Durza.
Yes.
Yeah, he opens it up to hundreds of biomech, both humans of all races, humans, Twi'leks, this, that, all different types of animals, that he literally had to sit there and fight for hours just to be able to get his hands on her holocron. So like shit like that, like Sith sorcery, Sith alchemy, all these things I need to see more of. I need to see more of. And I'm starting to strongly believe that what has a big part of what led to the Jedi's downfall was not their fear. I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna say the fear of the dark side, but I'm gonna chalk it up to the fear of the Force itself.
I think that in the Acolyte, one of the things that they're gonna probably portray on the Jedi is, I think that they're gonna try and show their complacency, pompousness, proudness, and just lack of concern for things. I think that's what they're going to try and portray, because that is how the Jedi fell in the first place, and always fell. And this is the iconic Sith throughout the entire Sith history, using cunning, lying,
misdirection.
Deceit.
and yeah, I think that's what you're gonna see from the Acolyte on the other side. Hopefully.
I can definitely agree with that. Just based off the trailer, it looks like the Jedi are in such a very cushy place. You know what I mean? And that's always been the thing. They're like, oh, we're the light side of the force. No, we're always gonna win. Light always prevails over dark. Yeah, this is whatever. We can take on whatever comes our way. We're good.
But see,
Oh, what? We took the Sith out? All right, bet. We took them out long ago. This is whatever. So the Acolyte is in direct line, is pretty much in a direct line from like the Brotherhood. So the last time in the Acolyte, the last time anyone had seen a Sith was the battle between the Battle of Rasan between the
Khan's Brotherhood.
Khan's Brotherhood
Yes,
and
yes.
Halt's Army of Light. So that's really cool. That's cool. Oh, that's gonna be really cool to see. That's gonna be really, really cool to see.
But that to me right there also shows the ignorance in the that right there shows the ignorance and the arrogance of the Jedi, because the Jedi thought, oh, the Sith got wiped out, no one's seen them in the millennia. These motherfuckers were so arrogant they didn't even realize that the Sith got wiped out by a Sith.
But here's the worst part.
That's true.
They're so arrogant that they thought that. Now I'm talking about what book did that happen in? I believe it was right when I was finishing Rule of Two. The way Xana pretty much is able to helps Bane escape is she uses her sorcery to on her cousin. They were so arrogant that they thought that this dude in his 20s, missing one arm, missing a hand, wielding a golden lightsaber, was the last Lord of the Sith, and that he was able to be taken out with just 2 foul swoops of a lightsaber, and they thought that was it. Come on now. Use your. They could have used your eyes. Use your eyes. I feel like in that moment, did that kid even look like a Lord of the Sith? He's literally missing a hand, and he has a golden lightsaber that that they recognized the lightsaber. He knew the lightsaber. The guy, the general that killed him, knew the lightsaber. He knew that was Farfallah's lightsaber.
Mm. But then again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Malik was so strong in the Force, like his jaw rotted off his face, and then it's also like Grievous took this lightsaber of the Jedi he's slain. So a Jedi's lightsaber being taken as a trophy, that wasn't that uncommon.
But this is before Grievous.
But even then, that still goes back to long before them being trophies. That wasn't uncommon.
But I feel like them being used, I feel like that should have been kind of like a hold on. Even after they killed him, even after they killed him, they literally said that it literally says the battle lasted less than 2 seconds. The fight lasted less than 2 seconds. Like I just feel like even after the battle, they could have looked down and be like, And even then, they should have been able to feel. They weren't. How were they not able to feel the dark? One, Darvid had pretty much little to no force ability. Oh no! that would have been masked because the land that they're on was charged with a different kind of force from them. Oh, speaking of that, another force ability that we haven't seen, and obviously it's my first time hearing about it, was pretty much like natural force. I'm gonna say it's not dark, it's not light, but natural force that was emanating from the planet itself.
Certain planets were naturally stronger in the Force than other planets.
Exactly. So, and this is and it states in the book that none of them, and none of the characters that were in this scene had ever felt anything like it before. So it would make sense. All right, they could chalk it up to, all right, the force of the planet was, clouding them and they're unable to sense. But I just feel like it still should, someone of that powerful in the dark side of the force as a Sith. Yes, Sith can cloak their dark side, but they got the message saying that the Sith Lord was gravely wounded. All right, gravely wounded. Thus, that Sith, he would not have been able to cloud his dark side of the Force. He would be using it as much as he can to, to bolster his strength. They would have been able to feel that. They felt no signs of the dark side of the Force in this man whatsoever. None of that. And they just like, oh, yep, that's him. Yep, time to go. They want it just to be done and over with the Sith and just throw it out the window so bad that they didn't even realize their grave mistake right there in their face.
Oh, this is true, and but this is also one of those things where a person who was low in the Force can still wield it with deadly precision. As awkward as that sounds, we already seen that happen with Ahsoka's apprentice, because people were talking about she went from not being able to move the smallest object to someone in a lightsaber in her hand to in the mid of danger.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, it gets shown in the book of Revan that the Emperor of the Sith was one of the most feared beings in Star Wars lore and history, but that's because of the way he obtained his power.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like they said,
the one that pretty much absorbed all the dark side from this one planet.
Yes.
He absorbed all of the life force from every single being, including all plant life, including all force from all life on this planet. He absorbed.
Like they literally said, the planet itself, because you can feel the force throughout the galaxy, period. It gives you strength, it allows you to focus, it gives you a center, it allows you to feel whole, feel oneness. They said going to this planet was the equivalent of going into a force black hole.
Yeah.
Like the second you got it within the atmosphere, your connection to the force phenomenally diminished. And then once you're on the planet, it was gone.
Correct. Dead.
Like people who were force users couldn't stand, they couldn't walk, they felt visibly sick. Like people had to focus all their focus just to be upright and walk.
And let's just touch on the point of realizing how truly powerful the past emperors of the Sith were.
Yeah.
And like, obviously that would be difficult to portray in a movie, but
not really.
Nah, if they can show Superman flying into the sun, they can show a Sith Lord make a sun go supernova.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you made a movie about those circumstances, a Star Wars movie today, I don't know if true Star Wars fans would love it, obviously.
Yeah. But clearly Disney doesn't care about us.
Like when Scourge found out that the Emperor had people trying to overthrow him, he was trying to figure out why and why they were so afraid of him. Now,
Correct.
conflict and strife makes sense within the Sith Order because the whole goal is to cast the weak from the Order.
Yeah.
But they were so afraid of him because of him being capable of doing that, and he did it without second thought or without remorse.
Correct.
Mhm.
They were afraid of him doing it again.
And they were like,
And-
"Yo, if he could do this on this planet, what's to stop him from doing it throughout the galaxy? Like, what if he just sucked all the living force within him for as far as he could reach, and then just stole the force from everyone else?"
Yep. I think all right, so before we take a break, what's the wildest thing that we've seen someone do in the Force within canon?
Oh, that's such a good
That's
question.
that's excellent.
Oh, I think that all depends on your understanding of the Force, because Bane
Yeah,
attempts.
between us three.
So yeah, because Bane attempts some shit in Dynasty of Evil that even Plagueis acknowledges a millennia later was phenomenally ridiculous that he attempted. But
Yes.
Yeah, he's I'm at the part where he's just talking about trying to, spoiler alert, in 3, 2, 1, right now he's doubting Xana's ability to become the Sith Lord because she hasn't tried to kill him yet. And so he's like, man, I don't have time to train somebody else. So I'm going to have to try to find he said he's going to have to try to find pretty much a younger body and transfer that consciousness to that body using the Force.
right,
Is that what you're talking about?
yes,
Yeah. No.
Yes.
So, but here's the thing. My question is, are these books canon?
the Bane series, as far as I know, yes, is canon.
So that means everything that he talks about in this is canon.
Because it also gets reflected in Plagueis, and Plagueis is canon to everything that happens with Sidious. So I'm imagining it has to be.
Yes. Because Plagueis descends from Bane's line, so you would think everything would have to be. Yeah.
All right. So then I guess we'd have to go with. So I'm all right. So I'm going to say the wildest thing that's been done in the Force via canon is a tie between making a sun go supernova using the Force and sucking all life force out of a planet.
Yeah, but that's another thing too that Plagueis talks about, because he said, I think it was Exar Kun fucking sustained a black hole.
Oh, I can remember
Yep,
Sidious saying
yep.
that.
Yep.
So it's like there's been some shit that's been done that where you're like, because I thought Leia surviving in the vacuum of space was fucking goofy, but when
Yeah,
you
No,
me
that was
too.
bullshit.
But if you
That was
actually think
bullshit.
about it, I don't know. If
Yeah,
we're
I don't
comparing-
know. So
If
we
we're
can
comparing
say
that to that, then.
but here's the thing, okay? So here's my whole thing. Ready? So it is stated that Darth Vader was phenomenally weaker than Anakin Skywalker. And when they asked why, George Lucas answered that because there was so little of his body left. Since he had all 4 limbs replaced and he was burned severely on Mustafar, he lost a lot of his flesh, which means he lost a lot of his metachlorians. So if his metachlorians are what determine his connection to the Force and his ability to use it, so it's like if you got sucked into the vacuum of space where you would die instantly, like I don't know. There's too much of a gray area with that.
I get that. I get what you're saying completely. Like, I do. But you have to also remember 2 things. 1, it's Disney.
That's a good
2,
point.
Woo!
they had to also kind of do something because she died in real life right at that moment. And I think that they made that scene in honor of her, like coming back.
Yeah, granted. So now, what I mean, so I don't mean the goofiest thing that we've seen the Force be used for. I meant like the most OP thing.
No, I agree. But like I said, like in my opinion, that is goofy, but that is still OP. So surviving the vacuum of space.
Now I could see it as she was able to use the Force to, she gathered her force and like right before, because she saw the blast coming.
Was Leia?
It's not like it was like.
Was
Yeah,
Leia
so
not known for practicing battle meditation?
No. Like, we never even really knew Leia had anything to do with. We had no clue that she was in tune with the Force at all. We assumed, clearly, because who her father is, but nothing at all until we see the flashbacks of her training with Luke.
That is true.
So the only way I can explain it is Leia. She knew that that they were about to get blasted.
She does. In the film, in the actual movie, she knows. So she shuts her eyes.
She sees it. Yeah, and I believe what happens in that moment is she's gathering all her force. Force shields. The Force shields. That is a thing. That is definitely a thing within Star Wars lore.
In the movie, you see her, the moment the missile hits the ship, her back is to that section that explodes out. And the moment it explodes, right before it explodes, she closes her eyes. And who knows, maybe she was putting a force shield up.
Yeah. Or she could have been gathering the force to enhance her body, which in doing so increases her lung capacity. So she was able to hold her breath just long enough to pull herself back into the ship. I really wish that was explained more, because I feel like that would have made that scene less goofy and more like, oh shit, Leia like that. I feel like that would have made the scene way better.
If they made the scene of her right before the missile hits the ship, if they made the scene of her moving her arms in a way like she puts up a shield and it coats her body and then the explosion hits, if they did that and the rest of the scene played out as normal, that would have been cool.
Yeah, so pretty much if there was just a little more information about how that happens.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Why didn't you just put the force field up around the ship?
That's a great question.
I don't think she was that strong.
I hate Disney.
But Luke Skywalker can project his consciousness across the galaxy to create an illusion that he's fighting Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
All right. On top of that, Luke was also phenomenally stronger than Leia. Because remember, Leia stopped.
Was she?
But Leia stopped her training.
So did he.
Yes, but that doesn't necessarily sever your connection. Like, you can still be powerful in the Force just because you're not trained in it, you know?
Yeah, but as we saw with Obi-Wan, he was highly trained in the Force and highly powerful in the Force, but his connection to the Force by not using the Force is what led him to be difficult. It became difficult for him to tap back into it. So for one who has stopped training in the Force at such a young age, she had to be, let's say, if I remember correctly, they're in their early 20s throughout.
See, I don't think she
chapter...
ever stopped using the Force.
That's true. We don't know if she did. That's very true. We don't know if she did.
It's not even explained.
It's not. It's not. And that's the biggest problem I have with this movie that we don't normally talk about. There's so much in it that is not explained that leaves everything up to like, what the fuck? How is this? Why is this? That it's that honestly, on top of I truly believe it was the poor. This is a part of the poor writing for those last 3 movies, that there was little to no explanation as to why or how shit was happening. They just said, this is happening and you're gonna like it. There goes Mickey Mouse putting that glove on again.
Woo!
Ha ha! All right, y'all. Let's take a quick break. Let's hear for some awesome podcast friends that we have. Let's see what they got going on, and we'll come back and we'll dive into the Mandalorian and the Mandalorians in a whole.
Mickey said he's gonna.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
All right, is everyone here? Everyone's ready to go?
You got an echo power.
Yep.
Oops. One moment. We'll be back right after these quick messages. How about now?
Oh yeah, we're good. I'm good.
Am I still echoing?
Then you're fine.
All right. Everyone's here. Awesome. Dope. All right. So before we went to commercial, Triage, you were saying something before we went to commercial.
I said
All
you
I heard
said
was
that the
something
mouse
about
is,
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, you said the mouse was putting on the glove to do a prosthetic jam, and you cut to a commercial.
Yeah. Man, if I knew you were gonna say that shit, I would have waited. I really feel like when Disney bought LucasArts, the mouse was like, "Ha ha! It's time to fuck shit up."
Said, "Oh, no wrestling."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Man. All right, y'all. So, like you said, we're talking about the Mandalorian today. So, where do you guys want to start? Where should we start when it comes to talking about the Mandalorian and Mandalore as a whole?
I would say with the reformation of Death Watch.
All right. Jump in. Take us away.
So we see the reformation of the Death Watch just as I was going to say Sabine.
You're talking about
Bo-Katan's
Bo-Katan?
sister. What was her name?
That 2%. Oh, wait, you said Bo-Katan's sister?
Yes,
Satine.
Satine. Excuse me. When the Watch overthrew her, it basically said that her pacifist ideas were destroying their people. That is where I think the defining moment for where the Mandalorian starts and at, because Din Djarin himself is revealed to be a descendant of the Death Watch.
Mm. So, for those who don't know, the Mandalorians were a clan-based culture composed of members from like multiple different species, but they were bound by like a common creed, language, code. Now, primarily, they're known primarily as like highly effective mercenaries and bounty hunters as we see them today. Um, but the Mandalorians, at various points within the galactic history, played a major role as legendary warriors and conquerors. So pretty much they kind of like originated around, I believe it's in the lore, it said like around 2000 BBY, or none of my bad, 10,000 BBY, around, I think it was like 9991 BBY, around there.
Mm.
And then like a lot of the lore gets kind of hazy from there. Uh, you guys, would you guys be able to expand on some of that?
I think. Well, I'm not sure when, but I think after
Mm.
after that, when do they find Mandalore? That's much later, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying that, so the planet Mandalore, it was like the Mandalorians originated from Mandalore. Yeah, it was around that time. It was on the outer rim of the galaxy, which the outer rim is known as pretty much the kind of like the lawless area. There's
Yeah.
people kind of do
Wild
whatever
West.
the hell they want out there. Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like it's pretty much the Wild West out there. Um, Now, what I find interesting is pretty much the Mandalorian's way of life kind of revolved around like honor and war. That was it. That was the two things: honor and war. Um, Now, to my knowledge, they were originally founded by a race of beings known as the Tong, and funny enough, the Tong, their home planet was Coruscant, which is now where the Jedi primarily reside, even though their birth planet and their home planet was Tython. So it's a lot of planet hopping going on in here. Um, and they were ruled by one person who's known as Mandalore. And I put the pause in there because there's a comma in there. Pretty much whose protectors pretty much like maintained a relative state of peace and unity between all. Because mind you, they're warriors. So on the same level, like the shit. The point is, who's the strongest? We're gonna call the herd here. Who's the strongest? We're gonna be the strongest possible. But the protectors pretty much maintain the peace between the warrior clans. Now, as a result of the warrior culture, the Mandalorians launched several wars of expansion pretty much by the time the Old Republic started. So yeah, they were around before the Old Republic, and they started see, I'm black. I can't even say it right.
Colonizing.
Kind of, yes, colonizing nearby planets like Cronus, Odor, in the Concord Dawn, leading pretty much that area of space to be known as Mandalorian space.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they pretty much they pretty much had their own little thing going on there.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Even like before and during the startup of like the Republic, like.
Mm-hmm. Now, Triage, where does your lore start?
So for me, the thing that opened me up to Mandalore was the story of Revan, because Revan low key secretly uncovers the fact that the Mandalorians have been manipulated, and how their leader, Mandalore the Great, whose symbol was his helmet. And here's another thing: they've said that multiple Mandalores will rally behind a great leader if he's worthy of the title, and they have to hold certain items or symbols of power. The helmet of Mandalore the Ultimate was one of such titles.
Yes.
Wait, so they would like rally around titles of me?
So you've seen Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So the Greyjoys felt like they only followed the strong. It doesn't matter what your name is, what house you're from, what land you think you own, because we know once we go to war, if you're weak, you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mandalorians were simple.
Yeah, I
Like,
understand what you're saying.
So pretty much the big thing around them is just like the strong are the ones that lead, and if you're
yeah,
weak, you're probably going to fall.
very correct. This is why one of the reasons why Bo-Katan not went over, but hunted for the Darksaber the way she did, because she knew once she had it, she had the symbol of power she needed to rally the troops behind her to get done what she needed to get done. And as long as no one second guessed her or embarrassed her, she was golden.
Yes.
But that was kind of rough for her because no, go ahead, Legacy.
I understand what Josh means when, like, the Darksaber or the helmet of Mandalore are these symbols of power, and if the strongest has that, then others will follow. That's the thing. The others will then only follow. So they're important. They're important to acquire.
But now I know that definitely backfires for Bo-Katan hard, because technically it was Sabine who had. So the thing about the Darksaber is the Darksaber has to be won in combat in order for the person wielding it to be known as the Mandalore, the leader of the Mandalore,
and
the Mandalorians.
that follows their rule of the strongest.
Exactly. Whoever beats the strongest is the strongest, thus they lead us. And it backfired heavy on Bo-Katan because Sabine is the one who beat the previous holder of the Darksaber in battle. Thus, she was technically the real, the real leader of Mandalore. Sabine offered it to Bo-Katan, and she said, "Nah, I'm gonna figure it out on my own." Only to end in the end be accept the Darksaber, and everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, you're the leader." Not. And now I don't know per se how Moff Gideon got a hold of the Darksaber. I don't think they ever really explained that.
because he
Uh,
killed the last.
Oh,
Correct. Yeah, he killed the last clan leader who wielded it.
who
But did
was
he
that?
though?
Did they ever say that was?
I
I'm
thought
not
that's.
sure about that.
Oh, I thought that's what happened. I could be
Well,
wrong.
well, you see in the Clone Wars that Maul kills Bo-Katan's sister.
Mm-hmm.
So it couldn't have
Satine.
been that case because he's the one that winds up wielding the darksaber after that. Because he took it from the
Mm-hmm.
dude who was originally reading the Death Watch.
Saxon, right? I'm pretty sure it was Saxon.
I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah, because it was Saxon who led the rebellion on Satine, and he ran Satine through with the darksaber. So he ended up wielding it. Yeah, so there's a space there that's missing.
You could just look up quick all the owners of the Darksaber.
You're absolutely right. I really could. I don't know why I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. I can literally just look it up right now. Um, give me a second. Let me look this up, and we will be right back.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators,
Wow. Yeah, this. Whew. Sorry, pardon for the technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
All right, so it was. It's still really hazy. It's still very, very hazy on who. But it says I'll read it from straight from this. It says so yeah, it says the last person to wield it was Bo-Katan, but Bo-Katan Kryze, member of the prominent Mandalore family, key players, blah blah blah. Death Watch, plus the Mandalorians, Kryze, stood up against him. Sabine Wren had been seeking the Mandalorian, worthy of keeping the Darksaber. Mandalore. She handed the blade over to her, increased it. Okay. So this is where history of the Darksaber once again gets a little fuzzy. But it seems safe to assume that the Mandalorian is going to fill in many gaps in season 2, which it does not. Up until the very last moment of the Mandalorian, it was assumed that the blade was still in the possession of Bo-Katan, or at least in the possession of whoever it was now Mandalore. However, given that Moff Gideon was murdered, has murdered many Mandalorians, it seems safe to assume that he killed whomever had the Darksaber previously. So, yeah, it doesn't say. It doesn't say.
Interesting.
No
So
one knows.
So it's just safe to assume, though, that it was in Mandalore possession.
Yes. So the last person on record to wield the saber was Bo-Katan. Now, I feel like it would be safe to say that she had some resentment towards Gideon. She knew who Gideon was.
Oh, phenomenal
So,
movement.
yeah. So it'll be safe to say that he could have bested her in battle, but she got away. Thus, he ends up becoming, he beat her,
Interesting.
which
yeah.
means he willed it. That's the only thing that would really make sense. And again, shout out to Juan Carlos Esposito for playing Moff Gideon, because he went fucking hard.
Yes, he did a phenomenal job.
Or the only other thing I could also think of is if it was one of the terms he had of surrender.
Oh, to save her people.
Because like they said that, remember when they were all sitting around the table and they were eating and they were like, Bo-Katan, why didn't you just surrender? And she's like, I did. And she's like, they destroyed the planet anyway.
Yes.
I could see Moff Gideon going, oh, you want this to stop? You surrender the Darksaber, let it be known because I want it for X, Y, and Z, and then maybe we'll consider not killing all your people. This nigga hands it over, and then he bombs the planet anyway.
Nah.
I mean,
I can see him saying, "All right, give me the Darksaber. I'll let everyone live." She hands the Darksaber over, and he bombs them all anyways.
Correct, because I could see in her head saying, "If I have the Darksaber, I'll have it, but it won't matter if I have nobody to follow me."
Exactly. That's solid right there. That is very solid right there.
Makes sense.
Now, we've all seen Rogue One, right?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. All right, by the tone of voice, I do have to say this. Rogue One was way better than the last 3 movies combined.
What the? That's like asking, do you want your dick sucked or you want to put in a meat grinder?
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm just putting it out there. Is that something we agree on?
Oh, okay. So let me ask you a question. Would you rather have fellatio or would you rather have your balls dragged across a cheese grater? Which
I definitely agree. The last 3 movies were like getting your balls grinded across a meat grater. Anyway, shout out to Donnie Yen. Just because he was in that movie, and Donnie Yen's fucking amazing.
Yes, he is.
But yeah, I just love the fact that a lot of people missed it. But while they're going through the logs and shit to find the schematics for the Death Star, they came across the schematics. They came across the details and plans for a Darksaber.
they did.
Yes.
And a lot of people missed that, and I was like, oh, I just caught it. I just glimpsed it. I was like, oh, okay. I just wanted to make that quick little point there. I just want to make that quick little point there. That was I thought that was really fucking cool. But yeah, so unfortunately, it doesn't say who or how Moff ended up getting. Well, I can't say Moff because there's actually a lot of Moffs. That's kind of like the term for lieutenant. So I'll say Gideon. So Moff is kind of like the same thing as Darth, or kind of. So I'll say Gideon. It doesn't say how Gideon got the saber. They don't explain how Gideon got the saber, and this is my biggest problem with Disney doing Star Wars films. They don't explain shit.
Well, sometimes less is more. So I get that to an extent. It's not this shit's not explained. It's just not clarified.
It's not. It's not clarified.
Well, that's what I mean by explained.
Oh, excuse me.
Because to explain is to clarify, and they just don't give enough information about certain shit.
Because
the mouse is just like, this is my finger, and you're gonna take it, Goofy. I'm just saying, the mouse is like, this is my finger, and you're going to take it. Oh, gosh, Mickey. Did your finger get bigger?
I feel bad for Pluto.
Oh my god. He just insinuated that the mouse is a dog fucker.
ba ba ba
Wow.
ba 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 da 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 da.
Wow.
I am
No.
not.
This is where we get our best clips from, man. Oh my god. Mickey was like, no, Goofy, it hasn't gotten bigger. I'm just using my middle finger. Fuck the Lord, fuck the fans, fuck everyone, including you, Goofy. Oh.
I have a very simple question to ask. Why is Pluto the only animal that's not sentient and is not aware and can't talk and doesn't stand up on his hind legs?
It's very strange.
Listen.
Pluto in all essence is a slave.
He absolutely is. I bet you he's pretty much. Think about it like Planet of the Apes style, man. He's the underdeveloped dog, thus he becomes the slave. He's underdeveloped. He hasn't mutated. But at the same time, if your owner was a psychopath that pretty much ruled anything that had a sentient body, would you want to be sentient?
See, you make it seem like Mickey's just out here slinging mouse dick in every direction. He's just out here going full Diddy. Oh, you want to get ahead, huh? What are you willing to do for it? Like you, that's how you're making this shit sound. And that
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Mickey's just sitting there he's just sitting behind his desk like, so you come to me on this most special day to ask for a favor on my daughter's wedding, huh? I'm telling you, this Mickey's sitting there behind the desk like the damn Godfather. You know what? This is probably the reason why we don't get invited to none of the Disney shit like the other black creators do.
like who?
This is probably why.
The TSB crew. Oh, they're too niggerish to be on this show.
Hey, we got a splash of cream now. We got a splash of cream now.
Get those hard R's out of here.
Get those. I'm black. I can say it. Get those necks out of here. Man, I forgot. I can't fully say it because we're on Twitch as well. I can't fully say it. Yeah. Yeah, just yeah. I didn't really see it. Anyways, yeah, the mouse has been fucking everything up since they touched it. Yep. And it's not so. It's not like we can say Mickey's like a pedophile or anything because these are franchises that got aged to them. These are like 30-year-old franchises.
Okay.
Like Mickey's out here fucking full-grown franchises.
Oh my god.
Disney
Lucasfilms
for
has been
children.
around. What was that, Jay?
Would you guys say that
Would you-
Would you guys say that Disney is for children? Is that a valid argument or not?
Is it about hold on. So I look at it this way. The merchandise 9 times out of 10 has always got some underlying tone or theme to it that people don't catch or understand. You go back and watch some of that shit from the
I could say
90s.
one. I could tell you one right off the rip. When they dropped the when they first dropped the Simba toys at McDonald's and Rafiki was holding up Simba and you had to like pull the lever in his back and he lifts up Simba. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad because it looked like he was just you know on Simba. If you yeah. So I agree with you. Their toys had a lot of really bad underlying things. Like hell, fucking Donald is a Nazi. They had Donald as a Nazi working in a Nazi factory.
That wasn't remotely where I was going with this. Oh my god. That was
but you have to agree.
Oh my god.
You have to agree that Disney has some very bad underlying tones.
Like you mean like the time Bugs Bunny did blackface?
Which time? Which time?
He had to sneak past Elmer for Yosemite Sam, who was supposedly guarding the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, but again, which time? Because Bugs has been in blackface many times.
I fucking can't.
Yeah, no. So I would say the merchandise is aimed towards kids, but it's really for adults.
Interesting.
But it's like that with a lot of stuff. Like if you look at a lot of stuff in the 90s, fucking Are You Afraid? Not Are You Afraid of the Dark? Fucking
No, Are You Afraid of the Dark was
Monsters.
90s. Oh shit.
Yeah. Our Real Monsters, Rocco's Modern Life. Like a lot of that stuff had like adult themes to it, or it's a lot of over the top humor that went over kids' heads.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand. Rocco was a sex hotline worker.
What?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, bro. He was. Go back and watch the show. He was a sex hotline worker, bro.
And his friend Hippa was a worker.
What?
Yeah, bro. Go back and watch.
Listen,
Rewatch it.
You niggas ain't ruining this shit for me, all right? Once again, that wasn't remotely the angle I was about to go with this. I was about to go with the fact that they had adult humor to keep the adults entertained who were probably sitting through it with their children. But y'all was like, nah, fuck that. Like, Rocco was like, here's my dick. What are you going to do with it? Like, you're this was so far left.
Bro, I'm not even joking. It's been confirmed. People have gone back and watched and pulled up like, oh, listen, he's talking to, yes, he's the sex worker. I didn't hear anything about his friend being an actual worker. I don't remember that. I'm gonna go back and look at that. I haven't heard that one. But yeah,
I could be wrong. I just remember her wearing lipstick.
And the wig.
You know.
It was lipstick's wig and lipstick's wig and his glasses.
but that could be like a thing that was real big back then too. Representation we all agree is important. That's just like you seen the Powerpuff Girls. You trying to tell me that him?
Oh no, him. Oh no, him. Him was him. But I
Him?
definitely agree with representation because if you look at Powerpuff Girls, who else did they have in there that was a little bit different?
Or let's see who.
Their little sister.
Yeah. You're right. And then let's not forget like the teacher, the trench bowl from Our Real Monsters who wore the red heels. Come on, man. You gotta see the truth behind the truth, dog.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. But now, a lot of what we're talking about is a lot of Nickelodeon stuff, and as we've seen, Nickelodeon, but no, Disney's gone hard for years with putting those underlying subliminal messages in their work for years. I'm just saying, like, you
Makes you wonder
got,
why.
you got Snow White. I'm just saying. Not even that. Look at Beauty and the Beast. And I'm not going with the obvious angle. Look at Homeboy that was chill.
What is the obvious angle?
Bestiality.
I was gonna go
Bestiality
Stockholm
was the
syndrome.
obvious angle. Well, Stockholm. There's definitely Stockholm, but I was gonna, bro. There's Stockholm. There's bestiality. The fat dude that was chilling with. Sorry to body shame, but that I don't remember his name. The fat dude that was always fiending over Gaston.
That's true.
Yeah. Stockholm was heavy in that shit, and then bestiality. And now think about this. All the staff got turned into what? Furniture. Right?
Okay. And where are you going with this?
Why does he not allow anyone into the East Wing?
West Wing.
West Wing. What happens when you go in the West Wing? She went to West Wing. What she see?
His role.
It was absolutely destroyed. Everything, furniture, everything destroyed. Which means, in a fit of rage, he destroyed all the furniture that was his former staff.
Oh, so he murdered everyone. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Oh, this is getting dark.
So my question is, what happened to the West Wing when the curse got lifted?
Oh my God.
So we saw the candelabra. He turned back into human. The everyone else turned back into human and shit. I want to know, Chip.
Listen,
what part of his body got destroyed because he got chipped? When he came back, was the man missing an arm? Was the kid missing a leg?
Like, didn't he have like a scar on his forehead?
That's why they called him Chip, because he was missing a piece. He got chipped.
No, he was actually chipped. He was actually chipped, and then him having the chip was a pun in his name. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Listen. When he got turned back into a human, he had a chip in his tooth, like his two front teeth. There was a space.
Okay. All right. Yep. Yeah, the chip in his tooth. All right. But what about the dead bodies in the West Wing? What about the dead bodies in the West Wing?
Listen, man. All right. I'm imagining after the lynch mob and all the other wild shit that happened, and this is not nothing that's too far fetched or too out of reason.
Oh no, absolutely not. You're talking about a young. I believe, and to my understanding, she was not even able to get married yet. She wasn't even at the age to get married yet. And if we all remember, the age to get married back in them times was what, 16? I'm pretty sure it was less than that because if I remember my history properly, they would said a woman was able to be married and bear children after her first period. So
Whoa.
that's what they said.
We're getting really off subject,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah, I know, but I'm saying
Oh,
looking
you're
back
talking.
at feudal and medieval times,
Yeah.
that's how it was. So I'm just saying, man, there was a lot wrong with that fucking movie, and Disney is fucked up for that.
What about Pinocchio?
Pinocchio. So, excuse me. And again, we also got to remember
I gotta
a
hear.
lot
I
of these
gotta. I
stories.
gotta hear what you're
We
gonna
got
say about Pinocchio.
we got to understand a lot of the all these Disney fairy tales were taken from the Book of Brothers Grimm. So all these fairy tales originally had a dark meaning behind
That
it.
is true. That is true. That's very true. And Disney made them into tales for kids. How exciting!
Mm-hmm. Right? Oh God. Oh God. We got so far off topic. Um. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Yeah. So we don't know how Gideon got the dark saber, but we see in the Mandalorian. Well, first off, let's go. Let's dive into the Mandalorian now. Um. The Mandalorian starts off. We end up seeing a young, rambunctious Mandalorian. I don't really know. He seemed. I don't know what it was. If how young he was. We first get introduced to a Mandalorian by the name of Din Djarin, and he's currently working as a bounty hunter on fuck, I can't remember the planet's name. Uh Damn. Carl Weathers was like that, the lead guy on that planet, pretty much.
It was under control by the Empire.
Yeah, yeah. It was these were in the days of pretty much the following, I'd say what, 10 years? It was like 10 years since the Empire had fallen. That
Oh,
that
that's
I'd say
right.
it
five
up.
to
That's
10.
right.
Yeah, 5 to 10 years after the Empire has fallen.
And they were.
Um,
Yes, you're correct. Yeah.
and then they were, we see him as a bounty hunter. He's collecting bounties and shit. Oh, he ends up getting sent. He ends up going back, to the bounty board, like, hey, yo, give me my money and shit. All right, bet. You want a new bounty, homeboy? Because we got this guy, but then we got this one over here that there's a lot of credits on the line for it. So you just want to go do this one, and which one? So he ends up picking
No one's come
the one
back
that has
alive to claim it.
Yeah.
But you're welcome to it.
Exactly, yeah. So he ends up going on his way, whatever, fucking finds it, and he ends up finding the target, and the target is a baby of all things. Yet the tracker shows that this baby is 50 years old. What? Because we see that this baby is in fact the same race and species as Master Yoda and Master Yaddle. So this leads many to believe, and this is a running theory, that Master Yoda and Master Yaddle had a one night stand and was trying to hide the baby.
What?
I've never heard of that.
Oh my God. Oh
You
my
know,
God.
a lot of the times I would like I would like to say that I'm bullshitting, but this is an actual theory that Grogu is in fact Yoda and Yaddle's son,
Oh, that's interesting.
and that
Oh,
Grogu was supposed to that Grogu is kind of the light side's counterbalance
I think
for
that
all the dark shit
Grogu.
going on.
I think that Grogu the Jedi Temple cloned Yoda's species.
Oh shit.
And that's what I think Grogu
What?
came from.
But the issue with that is that it gets mentioned that cloning Jedi was so damn hard or impossible that no one successfully did it. And the other thing is that Plagueis himself mentions in his book that it was extremely hard for metachlorians to survive in another body from the original host body.
Yes.
But here's the thing, because we never figure out necessarily why they want Grogu. They want Grogu so bad because his metachlorians are so high, and that he was pretty much their experiment. They're
Well,
experimenting on him for those cloning process.
They
They
did-
wanted to clone the metachlorians to put in another body.
So here's my thing. Maybe what if you're right, Legacy? What if you're right, and Grogu was the first successful clone?
Oh, that's highly interesting. Which is why the Empire wanted him. Which is why Gideon wanted him, because he was trying to make clones.
of himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he was trying to make it so they could will the Force on top of that.
Correct. That was the whole point. He wanted his clones to be able to wield the Force.
So he wanted clones of himself with his own ambition, who would know all the shit he knew, on top of being all armed with Beskar.
Exactly. So think about it. What, as a scientist, what's the best way to replicate an experiment? Go back to the closest successful experiment.
Yeah.
And try to duplicate those results. So what if Grogu is in fact a clone of maybe not Yoda per se,
But of Yoda's
Species.
Yeah, someone.
Yeah, like
someone from Yoda's species.
But it's.
It will make sense if Yoda is 50 years old, right? This is 10
Grogu?
years after. I'm sorry, yeah. If Grogu is 50 years old, Mandalorian takes place about 5 to 10 years. I'm gonna say 10, just around 10 years after the fall of the Empire. But Grogu was also there for the fall of the Order. So he had to have been the fall of the Order. He had to have been 20 something years old because the Empire ruled for about 30 years or so. So he had to have been maybe about 10 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
So what if he was found, right? Because remember, Camino was the clone spot. They had already successfully been able to successfully clone people by the time Revenge of the Sith even came about.
Yes. Yeah.
So what if Camino was being run pretty much by the Sith on the back end?
True.
Insidious's whole thing as well was to be able to clone Force users eventually, right?
Yes.
So what if Grogu was the first? What if Grogu was the first kind of,
attempt?
The first attempt. Well, maybe not the first attempt, but the first successful attempt, and he was found, but they covered it up, which the Jedi are known for doing.
This is true.
What do we say? History dictated by the winners. Right? So.
I mean,
Well,
it's highly interesting. It really is. If you think about it.
Oh, I just thought about something.
Go ahead.
What if Grogu was found while they're in a process of trying to clone him? So what if he's not a clone? What if they were trying to clone him So what if Grogu was found on Camino or whatever,
Mhm.
after all that, after the whole situation with Boba Fett and I'm sorry, with yeah, with Boba Fett and all that shit. What if all that led them to pretty much, search Camino because they're like, oh, hold on, you're creating our clones from one of the most renowned fucking bounty hunters in the world. What the fuck? That wasn't they that didn't we didn't greenlight that shit. What other shit are you doing that we didn't greenlight? They find Grogu and then process of them trying to clone him. What if a part of Anakin's mission on Coruscant wasn't just to wipe out the Jedi Order? What if it was to find Grogu? Because
Uh,
they took
I mean, Palpatine.
painstakingly
If the
to get
Jedi
him out of
Order,
there.
if the Jedi Order had Grogu in their care, Palpatine no doubt would have known about it.
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I mean, he might have been a contingency upon a contingency. Palpatine was good for that.
That is true.
Yeah, as we see. Yeah.
That is true.
I don't. Yeah, that's not. It's not that far fetched.
It's really not. Palpatine no doubt would have known of Grogu's presence,
Mm-hmm.
unless
Yep.
no, he would have, because the Jedi Temple completely trusted him. So
Yeah. Yep. And everything they did had to go through the Chancellor. After the Rasan Reformation, that was the new law. Everything the Jedi did had to go through the Chancellor.
yeah,
The Rasan Reformations were the equivalent of the Soviet Accords or the Mutant Registration Act.
yep.
Yeah, so he
It
would have
makes sense.
known what they were doing. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, if they're already taking out a shit ton of Jedi, I guess it would be like, all right, you're already on Coruscant, just go ahead and, you know, wipe out the rest of the order since we're already here. But I'm pretty sure there was a conversation after that camera cut of your first mission is. All right, so this is a little green nigga, right? He looks a lot like Yoda. Little green nigga that's here, and I'm trying to get him back. We need him. He's important. You don't need to know why. Don't ask no questions. Just go get the green motherfucker. Kill every Jedi
Everyone
in sight on the
else.
way there. Yeah, kill everyone else. Kill everyone else but the little green motherfucker. The littler green motherfucker, not the little green. I'll take care of the little green motherfucker. Take out the littler green motherfucker, and don't take him out. Just take him. I'm just saying, and they worked really. They worked really hard to get him to safety. A little extra hard. This motherfucker was running past Padawans.
Now, see, this is another interesting thing. If the Jedi had worked and went out of their way to save Grogu, then that meant that they would have known about the Emperor's plan. However, they wouldn't have.
They knew
And
of a plan. They didn't know it was
that,
the Emperor's plan.
yeah, but they wouldn't have tried to save Grogu to that extent if Grogu was not part of their plan.
Ooh,
That's my
that's
point.
true. That is a good point.
Yeah, because technically, if he was the mission, he'd have been a mission within a mission within a mission.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Jedi went out of their way to save and get him out. It's interesting.
Well, yeah. So, yeah. Din Djarin's goal at this point is to bring this little one back to, the people that got the requested the bounty, and pretty much get paid. He didn't care about shit else but getting paid. But then his consciousness comes into play, and now he got Eminem and Dr. Dre on both of his shoulders. For those of you who know, y'all the real ones. For y'all that caught that reference, y'all the real ones. His conscience came into play. He's like, nah, I can't do this. So he goes back, pretty much wipes out everyone that's in there and rescues Grogu. So everything that he does after that is pretty much to try to get Grogu back to his own kind. Yet nobody knows his own kind, but they're like, fuck it, just give him back to the Jedi, I guess. Find a Jedi and give him back to the Jedi. But as we see in the final acts of Din Djarin's story, he ends up pretty much saying, "Yo, fuck it, yo, this is my son right here." He ends up adopting Grogu as his son, and now Grogu has become, to our knowledge, the first of his kind to become a Mandalorian, or at least a foundling. So not only is he now a Mandalorian who's also ridiculously strong in the Force, but he was also trained in the Force by Luke Skywalker, trained as a Mandalorian by Din Djarin, and is currently being trained by the rest of the Mandalorian. So I need that story. That's the story I need. Now within Death Watch, there's a code within Death Watch. You do not remove your helmet. That is the sign of a true Mandalore. You do not remove your helmet. This is something that, regretfully, Din Djarin ends up having to do in order to complete a mission. Now, how do you guys feel that plays into his character development?
Well, Go ahead,
Legacy. You go first.
Okay. I believe, if I could be wrong, but he has to remove his helmet once in front of the not human life or another life, but in front of an android, because he's going to die.
Legacy, come a little bit closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Doesn't he remove his helmet twice? Once
Yeah,
because
so
he's dying, but he also removes his helmet once by his own choosing, so that Grogu sees his face.
Yes.
So from what I remember is that he can't reveal his face to anyone kind of outside of their sect. And seeing that, and because Grogu is now pretty much, he's adopted as his son, he's a part of the sect, so he's able to remove his helmet in front of him. But so that was the first time. Also to drink as well, because the chick had brought him. He had found, he got to a planet where it was all these people. They had their own village and shit, and they took him in, and so came time, like nighttime. He took his helmet off to eat dinner and clean up and stuff. But then the second time he takes off his helmet because he has to take it off because it's like, listen, bro, we're about to infiltrate an Imperial base. You can't be walking up in there like a Mandalorian and shit, especially because motherfuckers know you now. So he's like, hey, either you go in with us and you give us it was Bill Burr's character. He's like, either you go in with us and we have a better chance of succeeding, or you don't, and we could more than likely fail. So he ends up choosing to take off his helmet and his gear. And I don't know, if it was me, If it was me, no matter how strong my morals are, how strong my beliefs are to this shit, if I know that I'm gonna get kicked out, if I tell this bitch that I took my helmet off, I'm not telling Shorty I took my helmet off. Have you taken
Well,
off your helmet? Nah.
Would you
well,
be able to live with
Never.
that guilt?
Oh, I'm already living with a lot of guilt. I'll take that.
so the whole thing with the helmet was supposed to be that what I understood from the Death Watch was that they say this in the book of Revan that when Revan put his helmet back on, because Revan had one that was very similar in look to most Mandalorians, including Jango Fett, Boba Fett, but Revan was doing his best to walk between the dark and the light, and he's one of the people who found the mediation between the two. So they said, like, when Revan put that helmet back on, he was no longer a man. He was this imposing, terrifying figure because you couldn't see his face, you couldn't see his expressions, you couldn't see his eyes. And it's like how you never knew quite what he was thinking or he was doing because you couldn't read his expressions, on top of the fact you couldn't see his face. So, if anything, in my opinion, like the helmets made them more menacing.
Yes, it definitely did. It definitely did. And I guess it was supposed to be a sign of, because remember, at this point, it's symbols. So their symbol is the helmet. Oh, 1 second.
Bless you.
Bless me. Thank you. Yeah, so their symbol was a helmet. And to them, it's like, by you taking off your helmet, you are discarding the symbol of us. You're discarding your will to be a part of us and our people.
Yes. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what I took it as.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like it's like somebody throwing down their flag. They're and discarding is like, I'm not a part of this anymore. So taking off your helmet, it's like, all right, so you take off your helmet, you're not one of us anymore. You discarded your love for us, and he had to go through the whole path of redemption. And bathe himself in the waters of Mandalore in order to redeem himself.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, let me
Which is
just step
really
in the bath real quick." Ah,
he was like, "Whoa, what the fuck was that? There's some shit down there. There's something down there." And which is really cool because that is, I do believe that's probably the last living mythosaur.
Yes.
Yep.
Because the Mandalorians, they wiped out all the other mythosaurs when they got to Mandalore because they saw them as the strongest beings on the planet. They had completely populated the planet. So they pretty much wiped them out to extinction and left their bones strewn throughout the planet as like as a sign, like, oh yeah, we took out the strongest beings on this planet. We are the strongest. Because remember back then, this is where the Tong were still a big part of the Mandalorians. They made up a good part of the Mandalorian race.
I think
So that, go ahead.
I think that they showed they wanted to show that a mythosaur was still living, like in the Mandalorian. I think like it signified the coming back of the Mandalorians. Like,
Oh yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that being a really really good metaphor there.
the Mandalorians didn't die because there's still a living mythosaur here.
like
Yeah.
like everything they did in Avatar, The Last Airbender, where Zuko and Aang had to learn the true nature of firebending.
Yeah, from the last dragons, the
Right.
last two living dragons.
And then,
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
well,
Yes.
Iroh said that he had killed the last dragon, but he said that he had killed the last dragon to keep people blamed for it. So it might be a
Mm-hmm.
very similar process in that aspect.
And that's
Interesting.
and a part of that's also what Din took from that too. He was like, "Oh, I'm definitely a Mandalorian now. Unlike the rest of y'all motherfuckers, I've seen a mythosaur first up close in person, and
Mm.
the mythosaur gave me his blessing. He didn't kill me or eat me. He gave me his blessing.
Well,
I'm legit Mandalore."
if you remember, uh, Din Djarin was unconscious in the waters, and he was saved by her, and she was the only
Oh, it
one
was
who saw it.
Bo-Katan Bo-Katan was the only one who saw it.
So that's an even better reference there, because she was
And
the only one that saw it, and
Grogu,
she was, became the leader.
yeah, but that's the thing. Grogu, and I feel like Grogu also knew it was there because he could sense it. Because he was, yeah, he knew it was there.
Oh, that's
He could definitely sense it. Because remember, he didn't want to go in the water. He was like, "Nah, nigga, you got that. Go ahead. I'm gonna stand right here. I'm gonna stand right here on the dry land where I can get the fuck up out of here when shit goes sideways. Because it will go sideways if you get in that motherfucking water, daddy. Go ahead. Go get in that water, daddy. I'll be right here. Auntie, you stay right here. Don't go in that water after him. He need to learn. Stop fucking with shit." But no, I could definitely. Oh man, there's so much lore with in Star Wars in itself, and again, from what I've just recently learned throughout this last week about Mandalore, the Mandalorian lore goes damn near just as deep as the Sith and Jedi lore.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Along with the Hutts. So I feel like the four big
Huts.
names
The
that you
Huts.
need, yes.
The Huts that are
Yes,
quote
because
unquote gangsters, the ones that are running the quote unquote spice. They talk about the spice like the spice is black tar heroin.
yeah, they talk about the Hutts in Bane's storyline. So the Hutts have been around for millennia. So the four big names that you have to know in Star Wars are Sith, Jedi, Mandalorians, and the Hutts.
Yeah, okay.
What about the Dothmerians?
The Dr. Mans are up there too.
Yeah, Dathomirians are up there too. Because you got to know about Dathomir. But I feel like you learn about Dathomir within talking about the Sith.
Yeah, that's true.
So within the Sith, you have millennia of lore, Jedi millennial lore, Mandalorians millennial lore, Hutt's millennia of lore. These are names that are dropped, like I said, in books that take place 1,000 years before the movies even start.
Yeah, it's like the Hutts are basically the equivalent of, like, I don't know what you would call, like, the mob through the galaxy, through all of history.
Yeah, they're like the longest running mafia family,
Influencing senates, influencing,
yeah,
trade,
running weapons, running drugs, running trafficking people.
slaves.
Because
Yep.
Leia definitely got trafficked. Leia most definitely got trafficked.
Whoa.
She did.
Define trafficked.
They literally took her against her will and sold her to the Hutts.
Okay. Good job.
Good job. But yeah. So if you guys are interested in knowing more about Mandalore and Mandalorians, I know we definitely got sidetracked heavy this episode. But if you want to know more, let us know. We'll do a more in-depth. And if there's any specific Mandalorian that you want to talk about, we'll do a deep dive on them. We'll dive in a little bit deeper. So we'll take a quick break here from our podcast friends, and then we'll come back with our final remarks.
Going on, everybody? everybody. Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
All right, and we're back for our final remarks. What a damn episode. Darth Legacy. What are your final remarks on the Mandalore and the Mandalorian? Din Djarin.
Well, Din Djarin, I really like him just as a character, as a Mandalorian. He's old school. He's like the iconic Western type. It's even hard to describe his persona. He's just awesome.
Yeah, space Western.
Yeah, it's so cool, But more on the Mandalorian, culture and religion. He's a true follower, true believer in what he's doing and all things Mandalorian. I think that the whole idea behind the Mandalorian is like a warrior race is really, really interesting. And when you compare it to the rest of Star Wars, it's no wonder they're a formidable foe. And yeah.
Triage.
I think that when it comes to Din Djarin, I think a big thing on him is is the bond he has with Grogu, and it shows that you can be different from different worlds, not necessarily speak the same language, not even look remotely the same. But if you look at someone and see family, you have to embrace them, love them, and protect them.
I definitely agree. For me, my final remarks would be on like I said, more so the the Mandalorian in a whole. And I feel like that touches on both what both you guys said. The Tong off rip were very were very accepting of others as long as they believed in what they believed in. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they looked like. Doesn't matter where they came from. But if you want to and are willing to go through what you need to go through to become one of us and be loyal to us and love our culture the way we love our culture, they were very willing to accept those. They had strong beliefs too, because I definitely believe. For me, I don't necessarily care what anybody believes in, but as long I do believe believing in something other than yourself is a very big and strong thing. So with them, they believed in they had a belief system, and they were strong in it. They stood by it to the point where they had whole wars and civil wars between themselves, between their own people, because you know some of them didn't believe in their traditional lores, others believed in new lores. Because when we look at the Mandalore, we have so many different iterations of the Mandalorians. From the Mandalorian Crusaders to the Neo Crusaders to shit, where are the other guys? To Death Watch, to Night Owls, to so many different factions that ended up splintering off and gained their own kind of thing to believe in. So I believe that for me that really shines a very big light on, and that's the thing about Star Wars in general. That's all that's going on right now. That's all that's going on is a battle over beliefs. Whether it's the dark side, whether it's the light side, whether it's the Mandalorian Creed, it's all about belief and believing in something. And I believe it's also a cautionary tale as well. It's good to believe in something, but not good to believe in something so hard that you're willing to kill someone else over. You know what I mean? Just because they don't agree. You know what I mean? Just because they don't agree. You know what I mean? So for me, I definitely feel like, I love the story of the Mandalorian. I look forward to another season of the Mandalorian to try to like round things out fully. And clear everything. Pretty much clear the board. I look forward to Star Wars, maybe talking a little bit more about the Mandalorians, especially since they're starting to backtrack and talk about things that happened before Episode 1. And again, like I said, they have 37,000 years of lore. 37,000 years of lore. Plus 37,000 plus years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking lore. Literally, Revan and Malgus takes place 3,000 years before Bane.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that they're gonna come out with a Star Wars movie with all the characters from all the new shows, kind of like they did with the Avengers. I doubt it. That's just me hoping.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead. No, go ahead, Trish.
Because that would be like everything that's happened with the whole heir to the Empire thing. Because Thrawn's coming back and he's rallying all these people who still quote unquote are loyal to the Empire. Like you've already seen that with some of these Moffs who have been relocated and how they've given them quote unquote second chances and given them jobs when they're still secretly loyal to the Empire. But let's not forget, let's not forget Luke Skywalker's still running around training people. Leia is still somewhere in the galaxy also, and she's got financial backing and power now. Let's not forget that Boba Fett has an axe to grind with these fuckers now because the whole thing with the splicing and walk and them taking out the Tusken Raiders. Let's not forget that they just reunited and have a fully fronted Mandalore. Everyone's rallied under them because they saw what happened to the planet. And the fact that the Empire broke their word and destroyed it, or tried to destroy it, and then was stealing their material. So
it's basically going to be like an Infinity Wars.
Anything,
absolutely.
If anything, Thrawn's return is going to rally all his enemies against him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got the Rebels, we got Ahsoka, we got Sabine, we got what was his name? The one that we're trying to go find anyways.
Ezra Bridger.
You got Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, as well as the rest of the rebels that are probably going to rally, right? So what? They're only missing 2 other people,
You got Luke and Leia there too.
and then you got Luke and Leia. Then you got Din and Grogu. You got you got Jaren and Grogu because they're both Din.
If they hopefully canonize Star-Lord.
Oh my god, I wish. I don't. They're not going to. I need to, but
the the smuggler character, the spy.
I don't think.
The show.
Oh yeah.
He was in Rogue
Ming Na's
One.
character.
Yep, you got him.
You know, there's just all these other, and on top of Boba Fett and his squad, that's going to be coming through, because they're gonna go. I can already see it. They're gonna go to Din Djarin. Din Djarin's gonna go to Boba Fett, but like, yo, remember that time I came through for you and helped you out with your shit? Yeah, I'm gonna need y'all to come help me out with my shit. And then they're gonna go get Luke. I doubt he's gonna get Leia, but Leia gotta have the backing as well. And Hera already has a good part of that council on her side right now, because she was right about the whole shit that was going on.
Something is going to play out. It's all building up to something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have the second season of Ahsoka. We have another season of Boba Fett's done. So we have another season of Mandalorian. Right. So yeah, both pretty much right now, Ahsoka as well as the Mandalorian, they're gonna cross over. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna run the last season of Mandalorian first. Then at the end of the Mandalorian, they're gonna have somebody come to him like, "Yo, we need your help," or they might just dub the whole last season of Mandalorian, do the second season of Ahsoka to wrap that up, and have him and Grogu pop up in Ahsoka with Boba and his squad.
It would be a good movie.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it all depends. It all depends. I think it will play out better as within the show than the movie, because clearly they can't get the right people to do their movies. They can get the right people to do the shows, but again, give Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni the full reign over Star Wars, and we will be A-okay.
We should petition that.
What was that?
We should petition that.
Yes. Just let them do the thing. Just let them do their thing. Just let them do their thing. But yeah, that has been Star Wars May. Tune in next week for, I don't know. You're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna be doing a lot of great things going forward. The rest of the, for the rest of the year, we have Fandom Fest coming in August. So look out for information on that. Right here in Schenectady, New York. Super excited. Hands together and praying that Phil Lamar does not back out or have to cancel on Fandom Fest here in Schenectady at Proctor's Theater, because that's going to be great, and we're waiting to see who else jumps on the panel. We're going to be having some more interviews coming up with some indie comic book creators as well, so stay tuned for that. And seeing as how this is the wrap of Star Wars May, we have a little bit of a surprise for y'all. If you go to our website right now, thesuperbreakdown.com, and click our merch and check out our merch, we have 2 new items in our merch shop dedicated strictly to the Mandalorian, a very special Mandalorian to many of our hearts. Bo-Katan Kryze. Go check out our 2%, because I am a part of that 2%. Triage, you part of that 2%?
You're goddamn right.
Yes, and if you don't know what 2% we're talking about, look up Bo-Katan Kryze 2% on YouTube and listen to that the interview that she has, and you'll understand why we're in that 2%. So go check out our 2% t-shirts and sweaters for the ending of Star Wars May. They are up and they are ready for purchase. Check them out, as well as our level 7 t-shirts and sweatshirts are up on our merch site. And don't forget, fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
Peace.